in Spain. Thank you very much indeed for that.
Time now, 16 minutes past 6, and residents in Aberdeen whose properties contain the potentially dangerous RAAC, that's reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete, are to be given improved offers on their homes. Councillors have agreed they should be offered what are essentially pre-RAAC valuations for their properties, which will eventually be demolished. The Scottish Government has agreed a funding deal worth £10 million with Aberdeen City Council to help support the residents. There are, however, still affected homes in other parts of the country, and questions are now being asked as to whether financial flexibility will be given to other councils. Well, Wilson Chowdhry is chairman of the UK RAAC campaign group. He's with us now. Good morning to you, Wilson. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Good morning.
What do you make of this deal that has been agreed in Aberdeen, that the residents will essentially get pre-RAAC valuations?
Mixed feelings, really. Aberdeen City Council applied for 10 million from the Scottish Government, implying that the funds would be there to pay for homeowners the full pre-RAAC value of their homes. Instead, in a meeting on the 21st of October, councillors originally tried to push through a motion that offered the homeowners just a 5% increase. That would have been a token gesture that showed a shocking lack of empathy. However, thankfully, there was strong opposition from other councillors, leading to a fairer decision. But let's be clear, this took 2 years of relentless campaigning from ordinary people just to get a fair outcome. It should never have been this hard.
There are 500 homes affected in the Balnagasc area in Aberdeen. Do we know how many homes there are with RAAC in them throughout the rest of the country that might be after a similar deal from their local council?
Essentially, there's around 1,300 homes that are affected. And of course, this fight is far from over. Through the RAAC campaign group, I've secured meetings with the Scottish Housing Minister, Mary McCallan, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. One in Clackmannshire on the 19th of November and another in West Lothian on the 3rd of December. But unlike Aberdeen, those areas won't have access to the same financial flexibilities that made yesterday's progress possible. If anything, Clackmannshire homeowners are about to take on crippling loans, and in West Lothian, council buildings were sold to housing associations that can't access vital grants. So without a doubt, the only solution is for the creation of a national fund to ensure that no community is left behind.
So can other councils not try and negotiate the same sort of deal that Aberdeen negotiated? What makes them so different?
So essentially, the Aberdeen project is a demolition and rebuild. But when we look at projects in Clackmannshire, they're going for remedial works. Also, when you look at as I said, the West Lothian issue, they had the right to buy properties that council homes that were sold on to homeowners were sold on to housing associations many years ago. Now, they're commercial entities, they're not councils, so of course they cannot apply for the same grants. Don't get me wrong, that national fund would fund homeowners, but also potentially the other option, if the government does want to look at the whole situation in such a piecemeal fashion, they could review the fact that obviously they could fund charities that fund housing associations, or make grants available that these housing associations would apply to. But the most essential and the key factor about this is these are very different situations to the situation in Aberdeen. And if we're looking at a bespoke solution based on a individual area one by one, you're looking at an extremely long process to reach all of these homeowners. Many have already entered into extreme financial debt. We're talking about homeowners in Clackmannshire who've been paying rent and mortgages at the same time. A single mother living there had a child while going through that process, was actually told by Clackmannshire Council that she should stop paying her mortgage payments, stating that would put pressure on the bank to accept the pitiful offer for remedial for the voluntary acquisition process that Clackmannshire was putting forward to these residents. that resident herself has now made her financial situation more tenuous than it was previously on poor
Obviously,
advice.
Wilson, obviously Clackmannanshire Council aren't here to answer those claims. The Housing Secretary in Scotland, Mary McCallan, has said the Scottish Government has repeatedly called on the UK Government to make available a dedicated RAAC remediation fund, but that they have failed to do so. Is this now an issue that you think government should be dealing with rather than local councils?
Well, it's always been the view of the UK RAAC campaign group that the National Fund should come from the Scottish Government, perhaps with assistance from the UK Government. At the end of the day, housing is a devolved issue. It has been since the formation of the Scottish Parliament in 2016. I'm not sure if that's the correct year, but what I would say to yourself is that we have written to the UK government. They've made it very clear that per capita Scotland is gaining more funds than similar citizens in England or in Wales, and that's been the case for some time. And also, they've given the largest base block payment to Scotland in history, and yet these funds have not been earmarked or allocated towards a national fund.
Okay, we have to leave it there. Wilson, thank you for your time this morning. Wilson Chowdhry there, Chairman of the UK RAAC Campaign Group.
It is coming up on 6:23.